Welcome everyone to the June 27th, 2019 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you all please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my left is Vice President Jeff Benton. To my right, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, our Administrator Mike Fromer, and our Clerk, Sarah DeNova. We can begin.
Resolution number 19-609, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held June 24th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-609. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public comment this morning. Resolution number 19-610, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PR 0626 and memo transfers in batch numbers MTA PR 0626.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-610. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-611, in the matter of acknowledging receipt of the annexation petition from the agent for the petitioner, Andrew Wecker, Esquire, attorney at law, requesting the annexation of 35.336 acres of land in Liberty Township to the city of Powell.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-611. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Mrs. Lewis?
Oh, aye.
Resolution number 19-612,
Thank you.
in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-612. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-613, in the matter of accepting the Sheriff's Office budget, estimating the cost of operating the jail and feeding its inmates for 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion vote.
Vote on motion 19-613. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-614, in the matter of declaring the personal property obsolete, unfit, or not needed for public use, and the intent of selling such property via internet auction or disposal of property of no value.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Brandt, 911 Director. Earlier this year, Motorola did an upgrade to our radio system and all the consoles downstairs out of our maintenance contract. These are the old computers from that. They're no longer needed. I talked to Director Lewis of the data center, and they had no need for them either. So we're submitting them for auction, as well as we have old portables that some of these were bought back in 2004 that are no longer a need due to the amount of excess we have of spares, and we're submitting those for auction as well.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-614. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Just one other thing for you, we did finish our on-site yesterday of our CLIA assessment. They are recommending approval in November, so everything went well with our compliance of our on-site file review, and the two assessors left yesterday afternoon, and everything went very well.
Good.
Great.
So,
Congratulations.
We should have something,
news.
they're recommending approval in the November at Covington, Kentucky.
Great.
Thank you, have a
Great.
good day.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Resolution number 19-615, in the matter of approving the professional services agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and M&A Architects for Delaware County Bixby Campus Phase 2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I am not John Melvin. Here. Brad Lutz, Director of Business Operations. So you all approved, I believe it was last week, I just can't remember if it was Thursday or Monday, the appropriations for this contract. So this is the contract that we needed the appropriations for. So this is for M&A to complete their work on the completing the design of the Bixby campus. Just as a quick aside, I can't speak highly enough of M&A through this process. They have met with multiple departments multiple times, literally as many times as needed. It's just been a great process working through them. They come with a lot of great ideas, and I've been very willing to work through design changes, and I feel that whatever design we come up with will be the best possible design for this building and any other structures that are built out there. Plus, I believe Mike will be getting his certificate in architect school through this process. He has done a fantastic job in just taking the big picture approach on this project to make sure all the departments are being treated fairly in this process. So thanks to Mike for that part of it. But M&A is a great company, and I fully support the signing of this contract to move forward.
Yeah, we all, I think this is a great idea for so many reasons. What are we looking at in terms of when do we get possession and a timeline to start construction and finish construction?
So John and I met with their facilities director. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but we met with him just a few weeks ago. They're still shooting for the September 1st date of doing transfer of ownership of the building. It may be delayed a couple weeks, just if they still need some more time to move some stuff. We told them that wouldn't be an issue. We're still looking at this project, the construction not beginning until next year, obviously with design and permits and process and so forth. Probably with, I would say, everyone moving in, give or take, sometime 2021.
Nothing's changed from our last conversation about who's going to be using the building or who's moving out there, same players?
No, from our previous conversation when we met and had everything up on the board, all of that is still the same and in play. And our design contract represents that.
So we would be potentially moving in when again?
Early 2021.
Early 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have basically give a year for, say, construction. I mean, and let, you know, and obviously as part of the design process, we have the separate building for the sheriff's office, some other structures, and then all the groups moving into the Bixby campus building as it exists today. In all fairness, some of those departments may be able to move in sooner than, say, the sheriff's office. So
Right. Okay.
there will be some timing differences there.
Okay, okay. All right, thank you. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-615. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-616, in the matter of approving the First Amendment to the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners regarding reciprocal jail inmate housing. I believe I said Delaware twice, so it should be Knox County and
Yes.
Delaware County Commissioners. My apologies.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jeff Balzer, Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office. This is a contract we currently have with Knox County Jail. It's a reciprocal housing agreement. I'm asking for the consideration of it being extended for an additional 2 years. We have used this past February. We had an inmate that we could not hold at our facility for various reasons, and we were able to house them up in Knox County. As of yet, Knox County hasn't housed any people with us, but it's still available. This is part of our strategy to have these agreements with our surrounding agencies, surrounding counties. I know Licking County has used it as well. They had an employee of their jail that came into some charges, and they couldn't hold them there, so we held them for them. It works out pretty well for us, and we'd like to have it extended.
Right.
So we're talking out of school a little bit here, but I was in a conversation with the commissioner in Marion, and they said they tried to work out a deal, but when they work out a deal with us, I don't know any of the details. I don't know if he had good information.
We've had two different discussions. We had discussion with the sheriff, and we had discussion with multi-county jail administration. And they were wanting a guarantee of beds. They wanted, for example, I don't remember how many, whether there's 30, 40, how many beds, a guarantee on that, and we couldn't do that. We said that we could enter into an agreement if they wanted to on an as-needed basis if we had room, but at the time they were looking for a guarantee, and we just weren't willing to do that at that point.
I had none of the details, and
Sure.
I'm not sure he had all the details either, just to
We're still open to that possibility. Like I said, I'd like to have the arrangements with the surrounding counties, but at that point, they desperately needed help, but they, like I said, they wanted a guarantee on how many spaces they could have. And just because our population fluctuates, I was kind of concerned about doing that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that certainly makes sense, and I'd had that same conversation with Marion County Commissioner and encouraged them to talk, and if it doesn't work out now, hopefully it'll work out down the road and
Right.
different terms.
I'm always willing to take those calls and have those discussions because I think it helps us all out. There are situations where we may need to house a few prisoners elsewhere, and it helps to have those options.
Right, and I think they're at capacity or even above capacity. And
They are, and I've said this before, we're very fortunate in Delaware County there's a number of factors involved that we are under capacity. Now, we still have difficulties because our female population is a lot greater than our housing was designed for. Our housing was designed for females, probably to house about a total of 30, 36 maybe, and we've got into the 40s right now. So we've had to use different areas of the jail that were designed. Originally, we had them for men's housing, so we're using them to house women right now. Again, we're very fortunate. I think it has a lot to do with the forward thinking of our judges and our prosecutor's office, and just some of the crime trends we face here, that we are underpopulation as compared to most other counties around us.
All right. Now, do any of the financial terms change with this?
They do
amendment?
not. We still have, our daily rate is at $65. The rate for Knox County is $50. Those stay the same. We actually are looking at revisiting our rate with the U.S. Marshals. That's something we're kind of in negotiations right now, but we have not changed that for the surrounding counties.
You know, just an observation, being fiscally responsible, which is our responsibility, obviously inflation factors change, so those rates should be reevaluated on a regular basis.
They do. We do. The rate we've been using for however long has been based on the rate from the U.S. Marshal Service, because they do an extensive study to determine our costs and the actual expenses, so that $65 is what we've quoted to the other agencies.
That's been in place for quite a while.
It has been since 2008. That's why we are renegotiating right now. I don't want to speculate on what it's going to come out to, but we're hoping that that rate will raise into at least maybe in the 70s somewhere, and also our guard rate too that they give us for transportation and things like that. So when that comes out, we may look at increasing the other contracts we have with the other counties.
Boy, it's a shame with the women, I mean, the growth of.
A lot of reasons.
The number of women.
It is. It's across the country and the nation.
Right.
I was at a conference, the National Sheriff's Association, a week ago, and it's not, Ohio's hit pretty hard with the drug epidemic, but it's across the country. And I talked to sheriffs and chief deputies from across the country. They're having the same things we are, especially with the population growth of women in the prisons and jails.
Overall, how many out-of-county inmates are there?
Relatively few right now. I didn't see I looked at the daily count, but I didn't notice for Licking County. Licking County is one that's kind of remained steady. That may be down. The marshals, it's around 10 right now.
Okay.
There's a number of factors, which is maybe a longer discussion, but they had a need about a year ago for 100 beds. Well, we couldn't supply that, obviously. We didn't have 100 beds to spare. They found a facility up in Northwest Ohio, which would take all 100 of them. So they've put a lot of their inmates up there. However, that's a discussion. Once we get this new rate in place, I'm going to have our new Assistant Jail Director, Nick Carafa, reach out to the supervisor in the Marshal's office to see if we could up our population a little bit. I'm looking for at least 20. I think that'd be a comfortable level for us to hold then.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Sure.
Vote.
Vote on motion 19-616. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 19-617, in the matter of approving an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Automatic Data Processing Board, and the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities for Information Technology Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jared Zerillo, Director of Operations with Delaware County Board of DD. This will be the second year that we have the intergovernmental agreement with the data team. So we just completed our first year. We're really happy with the service we get. So we're just looking to do it again.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-617. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number
Thank you, Jerry.
19-618, in the matter of certifying and authorizing the analysis of impediments to fair housing.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Jenna Gary, Economic Development Coordinator. This analysis of impediments to fair housing is a required study for the Community Development Block Grant Program. We did it in partnership with the City of Delaware this year, and I recommend your approval.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-618. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Resolution number 19-619, in the matter of denying the petition to improve and connect the public sanitary facility in a portion cost for the improvements filed by Ann Brandeberry and others for Riverview subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Eric Hostetler, Staff Attorney. As you're aware, the Riverview subdivision was under a findings and order from the EPA to connect to central sewer, and we've been working with all of the parties involved to try to address that problem. As a first step, the residents all signed a petition. It was filed under the name of Ann Brandeberry, but it contained approximately 70 to 75% of the lots in that subdivision that are connected to the private sewer. Unfortunately, the statute in question here requires 100% of the owners. This does show substantial public support for the project, but you will have to deny it because it does not have 100%. The next resolution will be the first step to proceed with the project on the board's initiative because you have to deny the petition. I'm happy to answer any questions on this or the next item.
You probably don't know the answer, but I'm guessing that other 25, 30% is maybe some people are opposed, other people just weren't able to get a hold of or contact or...
The only information I have on that is from the representatives of the HOA. Their report was there were no negative comments at the meeting, and they have not heard any or received any negative comments from any owners. It's just difficult to get 100% of a rather large population to
about
sign a
140 or
petition.
something like that.
Yes. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-619. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 19-620, in the matter of giving notice to the proposed determination of the necessity of sanitary sewer improvements for the Riverview subdivision.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
This resolution will approve providing notice for the hearing, which is again the first step towards proceeding with the sewer project.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 19-620. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Thank you, Eric.
Resolution number 19-621, in the matter of approving a services agreement with OpenGov Incorporated for software services.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
I would like to just talk a little bit about this. We've been working on this for some time, and this is, as I think everyone knows, my goal here is to significantly improve our financial reporting and performance measurements and sharing that and so on. But what I'd like to do is table this and postpone it for maybe a week, maybe shorter, and work out a plan. We've got an implementation plan, but we don't have a usage plan. How are we going to use it? What reports are we going to generate? Is it going to, I think it needs to apply to debt, to investments. Which departments are we going to start with? We need to do performance reporting and so on. So while we work out that schedule, I would like to just table it.
Eric, are we better off tabling or just pulling the resolution?
You can either pull the resolution or you can postpone it to a date certain.
Date specific.
Meeting. Tabling it requires extra procedural steps that tend to trip us up.
Well, I don't want to set a specific date because I
Probably then
don't,
just pull it.
so we'll just pull it. Okay, we'll just
Second
pull it.
this, so I'll
Just pull it.
withdraw my second and
Yeah, I'll withdraw my motion.
Yeah. Okay, that is pulled from the agenda.
That brings us to page 459, item number 15. Resolution number 19-621, in the matter of approving a services agreement with Power Solutions Group LTD for Delaware County Arc Flash.
so moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Brian Gallagher, Director of Safety and Security. This is the Arc Flash study that appropriations were approved just recently. This is the actual contract for it. The company that's performing the services has done work with the Regional Sewer District. Actually, the company was a recommendation from the Regional Sewer District based off the work that's been performed at those sites.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 19-621. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to administrative reports.
Morning, Commissioners. Wanted to first just mention, I was at the Ohio Water Environment Association conference first 3 days of this week, and we had two folks from Delaware County do presentations. Jason Watts, our electronic maintenance manager, actually did a presentation on implementation of the comprehensive arc flash study and confined space analysis that we did at the sewer district. And also Elizabeth Buning, one of the engineers, she actually won the YP award. She did a nutrient management presentation on how we profiled Lower Sauter, Tartan Fields, and Sauter Reserve. So they both represented the county very well and did an excellent job of their presentations. Also, I wanted to just, I think, let everybody know, I think most people do know, that Jeff Fischel, our EMS director, is going to be starting on Monday.
That's right.
And he has convinced me to come over to his apartment on Saturday at noon to help him unload boxes from his U-Haul. So, anyway, so I'll be meeting with him on Saturday and then we'll be seeing him here on Monday.
Duties as assigned, huh?
Were you a hard sell, or?
No, I think I'm going to delegate it to my 16-year-old and 18-year-old. But anyway, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, my gosh. That's
That's
great.
good. Yeah, the date has come
Yeah.
quickly. I didn't realize it was quite that soon, so great to have him on board.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Time flies. Gee. Well, I think you're first.
I think it's Commissioner Merrill's turn.
Oh, you think?
I think it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
So if
ahead.
I get to go, I mean, I get to say something.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
First of all, Commissioner Benton and I attended the meeting that we had at Leeds Farm on Tuesday. Very well attended. Several counties were represented, and Dorothy Belanda did an outstanding job, I thought.
Good media coverage.
They were all there, and
All
my
the
back
stations.
made some of the camera shots. But I thought the comments were excellent from the farm community. Obviously, there's quite a challenge that they're facing in a very unusual wet year that we're having. But the thing I found also interesting is we sometimes forget these farmers are really business people who really are running businesses.
Big
It's agribusiness.
And I found it positive in how they were approaching their comments, their questions. In many cases, they're approaching it like a business, and that's what they should be doing. And I think we should be, I was impressed, certainly with our county representatives, but the others as well. So, and I thought it was a great move on the part of our governor to reach out to the farm communities in these counties and provide this opportunity to provide the feedback. And if you want to add anything while I'm talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, the Department Secretary Belanda, I think that's the title.
Dorothy.
Yeah, Dorothy is from Union County and really is very, familiar with the ag community. She's not a farmer by background, but she's been, engaged with the ag community for years and really appreciates it. And she's done a great job listening and on her own as well as at Governor DeWine's initiative. I think there is a real understanding and a real commitment to doing what they can, to help the farmers through this very, very difficult year. So yeah, it was great to see it. She really cares. The governor really cares. They're listening. They're working with Washington, to work out some programs and plans. It's interesting too. The farmers are kind of using this down year, off year, whatever you want to call it, to do some other things, improve their fields, put in more tiles, that sort of thing. So, again, investing in the future.
And the other thing that was mentioned, farmers who have gotten into the business in the last 5 years have some challenges that, because they don't meet all the criteria because they haven't been in business long enough, and there's a particular challenge for those who have gotten into business and probably have considerable debt that they're having to work through and cash flow issues because of that. And Dorothy's a director by title. So.
Director, okay.
And I also attended a faith-based meeting yesterday. I think we all three attended it. And it was a busy morning, and overall I thought it went well. And I think this is the second one they have done, so I think there's a learning curve there that they will get better at it as they go forward, but certainly a positive, extremely well attended. I'm going to guess by my count, and I'm not very good at this, a couple of hundred.
Yes, I believe, yes.
And extremely well represented with the nonprofit community, and a number of elected officials were there as well. And I have two other real quick things. Bob Horlock's last day is tomorrow, and Bob has served this county and Source Point and Mid-Ohio prior to that. But I think 28 years, if I'm correct on that day, don't quote me on that. And tomorrow's his last day, and I wish him well in his retirement. And we also, something else happens tomorrow that is of special, we have a birthday. Don Houston's birthday is tomorrow, I believe.
Wow.
So there's two special events tomorrow. And I know you want us to point that out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to rate,
Yeah.
but happy birthday.
Yes, happy early birthday.
And that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Benton.
Just a couple other things. We had investment committee meeting this morning. Commissioner Lewis and I were there, and the investment and interest rate environment is very unusual. It's what's called an inverted yield curve, which means that long-term rates are actually lower than short-term rates. That doesn't happen very often. So Treasurer Peterson's doing a great job of managing the money and keeping it in the best product. And right now, it's mostly most of the excess funds are in Star Ohio, which is paying a rate well above other rates. So, so again, unusual times in the investment world. Rates are expected to go down, in the coming months, at least maybe 1 or 2 rate cuts by the Fed. Again, just interesting times. Regional planning is tonight. Tomorrow, have a SEBCO special meeting. We're going to try to work on a few things. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in terms of selecting a carrier going forward and other things. Ohio Wesleyan announced yesterday they're going to build they got approval yesterday to build their new dorm at the northwest corner of Park Avenue and Liberty Street. So it'll be the first significant, it's a significant building, and they're going to build it there and then eventually knock down the 2 dorms that are right behind it. And then create a quad-like environment.
Yes.
And these are responding to what higher education is feeling pressured to do, and that is new dorms, new rooms, a lot of single rooms for upperclassmen, and so on. So it's going to be a nice addition to Wesleyan's campus and our community, and it's good to see them moving forward on that. And that's all I got.
Okay. And yes, we all attended the faith-based regional tour. Thank you for coming. First of all, I need to give a gigantic thanks to Sarah DeNovo. Sarah really was the main organizer behind this event. She worked very closely with the Governor's Office of Faith-Based and Community Initiatives, and they were the sponsor, but Sarah just did a great job. Everything went like clockwork. She found the venue, which everybody was praising, and then she had actually bagels and coffee and juice.
Very well attended and very well fed.
Yes, that's
And
right.
a comment on that.
Yes.
Sarah, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but she's extremely good at putting together and coordinating these events. She does it over and
Yes.
over for all of us.
Yes.
And it went perfectly, and kudos. I can't say it any stronger than Commissioner Lewis said it, but you do an outstanding job when you do these.
Yeah.
Speech.
No.
Yes.
His hands are turning red.
Yeah, and you could not believe all that she put in her car. I mean, seriously, all these coffee, and when you're talking about 200 people and giving them breakfast, and you have to have enough coffee, and then you have to have some juice and some iced tea and some bagels and some scones. And
Cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls, yes. And I even saw Commissioner Benton, who's usually pretty good about that. He actually took one, so then I had to take one. So no, it was, thank you, Sarah. It was wonderful. And we had many compliments from the Governor's Regional Director and also Michelle Reynolds, who heads faith-based initiatives in TIA. The purpose of the tour is to, and there were several other counties included, was to invite faith-based organizations who work in the community and also nonprofits, and let them know that there are resources through the faith-based governor's office that they can take advantage of. And so I think that message got across, and it was a very good meeting. As Commissioner Merrill said, it was just the second one that they've done. So they're moving full steam ahead. I guess the next one's in Cleveland. And so I doubt they could beat this one, though, so.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Director Anderson.
Another comment, we've had two
Oh, and
events.
Director Anderson
Yeah,
was there.
I was there.
Yes.
We had two events this week, and the governor's done a great job of reaching out to the community,
Yes.
through the ag, we
Yeah,
just mentioned, and this
base
event, which is, I think it's going to serve the county and the state well
Yeah.
over time, and all counties, all 88 counties, so,
Yeah,
which is, I don't think that's been the norm.
yeah, yeah.
And again, Director Anderson was there, and you interface with so many of these organizations, so it was great to see that. And Commissioner Lewis was on the panel that talked about the best ways to go to work together, to collaborate with the faith-based community, the nonprofits, the government entities. And you gave him some really good advice, you and
Right, and
Representative Carfagna.
Carfagna was,
Really
yeah.
kind of said, okay, if you want to work with government, here's a good way to approach it. And,
Be
gave some
prepared.
really good
Thank you.
advice on that, so.
Oh, thank you. All right, we have need for executive session.
Resolution number 19-622, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment, employment, compensation of a public employee or public official for pending or imminent litigation for collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-622. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We're now recessed into executive session.
Gary, take off.
Yes.
Resolution number 19-623, in the matter of adjourning out of executive
So
session.
moved.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 19-623. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill is absent. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. We are adjourned. Yes, okay.